Hi everyone, I'm Shaylin with Reedsy. Today we're going to be continuing the series on point of view by talking about first person. First person is a very common point of view in modern narratives, especially in genres such as contemporary romance or young adult. First person means that the narrator and character are the same entity, so the character is telling their own story. Although this can limit the range of the storytelling, it can also make the story feel very intimate and conversational. Here are some traits of first person and some reasons to use it. First person creates the closest psychic distance possible. Psychic distance is the distance the reader feels between them and the character, and with first person, the narrative is extremely close to the character since the character is telling their own story. This can be a really great thing if you want to create a sense of intimacy between your reader and your character, but it can also be a downside if your character might have some less than favorable traits that might make such a close point of view a bit grating, especially if you're trying to create sympathy between the reader and the character. One reason first person often creates a greater sense of intimacy is because it feels like the reader is in direct conversation with the narrator. There's a sense of honesty or trust there, like the character is opening up to you and choosing to tell you their story. Although it does narrow the scope of the story and give you less opportunity for freedom, this can be really helpful in creating a focused narrative. It also makes the character's voice a consistently present aspect of the storytelling. It's also important to keep in mind that first-person narrators are all inherently unreliable. Because there is no distance between narrator and character, even if your character is a really good-hearted person who doesn't want to lie to their audience, every character does have biases, and those will be reflected in the narrative. Here are some tips if first person seems like the best choice for your story. A first person narrator who only pays attention to themselves isn't very useful. Make sure to describe the world and other people around the character rather than just the character themselves. A common criticism of poorly done first person narratives is that the character is annoying. This is often because of a poor balance between the character describing themselves and describing what's around them. If they describe themselves too much, then the story starts to feel egocentric. Second of all, be careful not to overuse I. This can especially be a problem when writing in present tense. It can be really easy to fall into a habit of starting every single sentence or every single clause with the word I. It's also a good idea to consider how the story is framed. Does your narrator know they have an audience? If so, who do they think this audience is? Or do they think they're just telling the story to themselves in their own mind? Why is the narrator choosing to tell their story? If you're writing in past tense, why are they choosing to tell it now? How much time has elapsed between the events of the story and your narrator deciding to tell the story? And finally, make your first-person narrator earn their place as a first-person narrator. To make this point of view feel warranted, a first-person narrator should be someone who can provide an outlook on life that no one else can provide. So that's an introduction to first person. If you want to learn about the other point of views, you can check out the other videos in this series and subscribe for new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time.